This is Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast. Your way of tapping into the Force from a galaxy far, far away. Hello there.
Hello, what have we here? Here's where the fun begins.
Count me in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast. Today, we continue with Season 1, Episodes 6 and 7 of Star Wars Rebels. This is our Rebels Rewatch podcast. If you have not seen Rebels, there's a decent chance we spoil it, especially Episodes 6 and 7 today. They are titled Breaking Ranks and Out of Darkness. They were both released on November 3rd, 2014. The first was written by Greg Weisman and directed by Stephen G. Lee. The second was written by Kevin Hoops and directed by Stuart Lee. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And we've got another couple goodies on the docket. I'm a sucker for Rebels Season 1. So far, we don't have a fucking miss. And if we haven't had a fucking miss yet, we are not going to have a fucking miss. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm realizing about this rewatch. Like, this show is so fucking fun and so fucking good. And I wanted to build on something we talked about last week about every episode kind of having its central figure. Mm-hmm. Episode 6 obviously is an Ezra. That's an Ezra episode. But episode 7, man, we get the Hera and Sabine lock in, you know, like we've done Zeb, we've done Kanan, we've done a lot of Ezra. It was nice to get Hera and Sabine doubled up even in that one. And man, I had a good fucking time. How'd you feel about both these episodes?
No, I'm the same way. It's been nice to get these character pieces, and I wonder how long they'll function like this in the season. I wonder when the switch will kind of be, whenever it's just all of them together now, or we don't really need the individual. It's just kind of, you get it through bits and pieces. But I feel like because come season 2, there probably are some individual
it's still,
or group episodes, but
for sure, there's always A plots, B plots. That's just how stories are told on television. You know, like that's just so. There'll always be splitting up. There'll always be this sort of thing, but it won't be so expressly. There's a reason we are doing this, and it is so you understand this character a little better. Like, we learn a lot about Sabine in episode 6, or episode 7. Episode 6 is kind of the first example of an episode where we're just doing a mission. You know, we don't learn a lot about anybody. It's just Ezra kind of existing on his own, kind of becoming a part of the team officially, where he is trusted with a solo mission, and that's really cool. I really, really enjoy it. And let's start with episode 6 here. I remember, I feel like Jakku ends up being a part of like the Lothal government in Ahsoka. I don't know if you remember, there's like I think he's a senator for Lothal, which is kind of hysterical eventually. Yeah, Jakku, Senator Jakku, I'm fairly certain. So it's funny to see him like this. I was like, I'm pulling from all these different spots, and like I'm pretty sure Ahsoka, he is featured as the senator of Lothal in the New Republic.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're 100% right.
Hell yeah, brother, Senator Jakku. What the fuck? I love that.
So you're telling me this do we see him back in Rebels at any point, or is this the okay?
He recurs. Okay. He's not just gone now. But Cadet Leonis, that's my favorite character of episode 6. I just love that he had like beef with quote unquote Dev Morgan. Like very overt beef. Like, fuck you, Dev Morgan. I'm gonna get your ass. And then like it came down to it. They were outside the Agent Callus's office, and he's like, hold the fucking phone. We cooking together now? Let's get this shit, brother. I love it. I absolutely love that he's got his personal, he's on his mission. I need more Leonis. I think we only see Leonis again once. I don't think we hardly see Leonis ever again.
Dang. Man, yeah, because I guess Jakku, it makes sense. He leaves, eventually become a senator, but man, this dude's already got the rebellion fire.
He's got that spirit.
It's already in him, because Ezra, he's like, do you really need a reason to like fuck with the Empire? Is it? Does he say that? Is it to? I think that's to him.
Mm-hmm.
That he says that. And he's like, oh no, actually, you're right. I'm fully with you now.
Let's do this shit. Yeah.
But I love Jaikel here. The voice was immediate. It's Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh,
Dante
yeah,
Bosco
okay.
is the voice actor, and I just I gave him the not the true performance of the episode, but it was just I wanted to.
You were like, you were the
like,
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'm like
meme. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was so nice to just to hear his voice is the best voice I feel like in the whole Airbender show. And I thought, I don't know, it is nice to know that he is coming back. A little
connection to Filoni there, as he was the supervising director on The Last Airbender for several episodes. So there's a little pull through from that cast into this cast. I appreciate that a great deal. When it came to episode 6, performance wise, I ended up going Freddie Prinze Jr. He wasn't in it a lot, but every time they went to him, I loved his exasperated sort of like, it should have been me. Like, I should have done this. And her being like, yeah, you'd have made a great fucking cadet, Kanan. The
mission's not going well.
that.
They're gonna, he's gonna trip up. It's gonna fail. Everything's just gonna go wrong, and we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I love Hera. The plan is going exactly how we've planned it so far, Kanan. Actually,
everything is good.
You kind of sound worried for Ezra, Kanan. Interesting. No, it's not that. I need the plan to go well and everything.
Right.
But
it's nice to see those characters like Kanan specifically start to show a real personal attachment to Ezra beyond responsibility for him. It's not like Ezra has been a chore by any stretch of the imagination, but we haven't really got to see Kanan, aside from last episode, take a officially fatherly sort of position with Ezra. And last episode that kind of sprouted, and I feel like we're seeing the separation anxiety almost. Like that's my kid. Don't fuck with my kid. I like that a lot. And I think that a cool theme for both of these episodes is the faith Hera has in not only their cause but in the kids. And I call it the kids, but Ezra and Sabine. And even Zeb to a degree, where she trusts them to do the checkup on the Phantom, although that fails. So it's I really appreciate little details like that in episode 6 kind of carrying over into episode 7 a little bit, in the way that like Hera is steadfast. She's like, y'all got this, we good. And I really, really
not worried whatsoever. Yeah, she full faith. Maybe just a good little mirroring there. But Hera will always hold it down. I feel like she's the true rock of the Ghost, that's for sure. And I love Dev Morgan. I feel like every time we get a Ezra alias, I have to track it down. I have to get all of them. So it's nice to have Dev Morgan.
We've got Jabba the Hutt and Dev Morgan so far. I don't think we've got Lando. Will come later this season, but that's one that will come eventually. I wonder how many more there are than that, because there are. We got Commander Melu Run from Zeb. Maybe we keep track of all the fake fucking names, like not just Ezra.
Okay,
but,
forgot about Commander Melu Run. Is anyone else given a?
I don't think so. I mean, they claimed Zeb was a hairless Wookiee, but that wasn't a name, like their little cover story. But
okay,
yeah, I'm pretty sure Sabine will eventually go undercover to do some shit. We got Chopper for the first time donning the black paint, becoming the Imperial droid, which is a lot of fun. I love anytime they go undercover. It reminds me, it's so funny to connect this to like Andor, but like it's so beautiful that these stories can both exist within the same universe, like where one is handled so lightly and one is handled so intensely and grimly, where that monologue Cassian has towards Luthen, where he's like, they're just so fucking fat and happy. You walk in there like you belong and they will believe you do. And
they're so struck in their beliefs that there's no way someone could influence, or like there's no way it could be one of their own, or
exactly,
no shot. And that recurrent, like, I feel like the way they bring it up is like, well, let's hope the Empire doesn't think so either, or like they kind of like, let's just hope the Empire doesn't think this that's a good plan either, or they're not gonna catch us here. And as they had their one plan. I love anytime that there's a breakdown, a map or a hologram, and they're like, all right, we're going in here, and Sabine, being like, oh no, this is like nothing we've ever been in before. It's a work of art. They got sentry turrets, standing army there, TIE fight, she's breaking it down, and they get in and out of there pretty much no problem.
Always, and that's what makes the episodes where they don't really fun. You're like, oh, there's actually stakes. I didn't realize that. And that's what's cool. I really, really enjoy episode 6 in the way that Ezra gets to operate on his own. I like that. The summation of that episode when he reconvenes with Kanan, and he's like, did you like it? Did you like being on your own again? And he's like, no smelly Lasats around, no fucking bucket of bolts. It's nice to be home. I really like that. It's sentimental, and it's cute, and it's fun, and that's what I want. But I like that he gets to go out, make friends, be a little, he shouldn't be bragging about the sort of things that he's bragging about, but he's gonna, whenever Leonis is like, how do you plan on doing that from up there? He's like, I've been training to be a Jedi, actually. And like, you shouldn't go around saying things like that, Ezra. But at least Leonis was trustworthy.
I feel like, he definitely shouldn't just be going around telling that to anybody. But a thing that I didn't realize, and I forgot to bring it up last episode, was whenever the Inquisitor walked in, it was like, there's a better path, the dark side, and Ezra's like, never heard of it. And it's kind of like, like he's completely unaware, even of the Jedi, of like the light. Really, he doesn't fully kind of like. I guess he's heard the legends and the stories. I guess he was. Like,
Kanan's given him a few lessons, but it's not like
how much
he didn't even
like. How much does he understand of the Order, like of the Jedi Order, Ezra? Like,
none, 0. I guarantee you, he doesn't know shit about the Jedi Order, because not only is that something that he wouldn't know, it's something that Kanan might be hesitant to teach. Because it's kind of painful for him to revisit. So, like, how much would he want to go back and be like, the Order at its height was a beautiful thing? Like, it's tough to reminisce on those sorts of things. And I feel like the first time that we really get stuff like that is whenever Rex gets introduced and stuff, and Ahsoka officially comes into the fold. We kind of get to reminisce a little bit more expressly. But yeah, it kind of shows you that already Kanan's teaching style is engaging with Ezra on a purely Force-based level, like obviously he's regurgitating some of the tenets of the Jedi, but he is, being like, I think the first interaction, Ezra goes, what is the Force? And that's just kind of what he's teaching him. It's not really light and dark and all this, but it's just how to engage with it for now. And then beyond that, we will figure it out. Obviously, episode 7 here, we get our first glimpse and the first mention of our namesake, Fulcrum. This is the first time Fulcrum comes around. Shadily voiced by Ashley Eckstein, as she will be revealed to be Ahsoka.
Already voiced by her? Like they...
Yes, the whole time it's voice modulated Ashley Eckstein.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I love the kind of story implication that it brought upon here with Sabine. Like Sabine being like, hey, the Empire hated when I asked questions, and like, you guys are telling me to not ask questions. Like, I'm sorry, that's not really how I roll. And Hera, just, I think it comes from Kanan first, saying that like you just have to trust. I trust Hera completely. So you should too. It's just blind trust. Some things are better unknown. And
there's some really good details that are just kind of, Hera like goes, I trust we, and then she goes, Kanan, Kanan's Spectre 1. Hera is Spectre 2. But Kanan is not the leader.
Wow.
He is the face, though. Like, when the Empire looks into them, they think the Jedi is their leader. They think that Kanan must be leading because he's the Jedi.
It's strategy.
And Hera knows that, and Kanan knows that. So, like, she is covering, like, the whole need to know thing is purely so that, I mean, it's classic tactics, you know, like, if you don't, what you don't know, the Empire can't get out of you, you know? So, like, if Kanan is Spectre One and he's our leader and he's who put us in contact with Fulcrum and he's who did this, like, he's not, though. You know, Hera is the one who has the connection to the larger rebellion. And I love details like that in this story.
Kanan would just take the fall, like he's not like taking the fall, but like in a way,
accepting
like
that's the reality of it. Like, because there is no doubt, like if he's been revealed to be a Jedi, the Jedi are leaders. They think that like the Jedi are who people will follow, you know, and they do still follow Kanan. It's not like he's not one of the leaders of the group. It's just that he's not the connection to the larger rebellion, you know, like, obviously he does concoct a lot of plans and he is a voice they all listen to. It's not like he's just there, but like Hera is the true link to their rebellion. And, that's why my favorite line of the second episode, episode 7, is towards the end whenever Hera's like, I trusted you with my life. Do you believe how much I trust you? And do you understand why I need you to trust me? And she's like, yeah. And she says, and I promise you, we will not be fighting this battle alone forever. You know, like, and I love that because she's already aware that there are other cells. She's already aware that there is an actual larger rebellion at work. She's just keeping it a secret, and she needs to keep it a secret by making sure Kanan is the face of their rebel cell. And I think that's like, it's just really cool to see the intricacies of spycraft and rebels on a kind of subtextual level. And I think that's really, really cool.
Who's like the current rebel council? Like right now, we got Ahsoka. Obviously, Hera's pretty. It feels like she's high. Is she like high up in there, or is she just like
Hera,
one of the main workers?
She is a cell, like she is the leader of her cell. So like right now the rebel hierarchy is kind of non-existent. Bail Organa is obviously doing stuff. We saw him a couple episodes ago whenever he's like, okay, R2, tell me what I need to know.
True.
You know, that's the first time, I'm assuming after that, Hera gets brought into the fold. Because what we learn canonically from Tales of the Jedi is that Ahsoka meets Bail Organa first. And that's how she gets in contact with the Jedi, or how she gets in contact with Rebellion. And then, like, so they've done some interesting stuff in the, again, not very expressly, but like to kind of build a timeline here. And I really, really enjoy that they're fleshing out the rebel hierarchy a little bit. Because, like, somebody who is in this show who is, like, the leader of the rebels is a guy named Commander Sato, who doesn't pop up in anything else, I don't think. I think he's just in Rebels. And we don't meet him until the end of Season 1 or the beginning of Season 2 when the larger rebel cell or rebels are brought together. But, yeah, he's a big part. He's kind of the de facto head of the rebel military as it stands. Eventually, Mon Mothma comes into the fold. Bail Organa, we know, is working in the background. And that's what's cool is that, like, this show takes place pretty concurrently with Andor. So we also know that Luthen is operating. We know that Mon Mothma is funding. We know that Bail is doing his thing. You know, like So what's cool to think about is that the rebel cells that are introduced here, that's kind of what Vel, Cinta, Cassian, Nemec, and all of them were. They were a ghost crew, you know, like, and I think that's cool, you know? So like and there's a lack of cohesion at this point. They have not officially begun the Galactic Civil War. They are taking little bites out of the Empire. I'm pretty sure the first, like, official battle that, like, kicks off the Galactic Civil War is probably Scarif. Like, the technical Civil War probably doesn't begin until Rogue One, when it's like, oh yeah, now we're shit's popping. But like there are little things along the way that Rebels obviously digs into. But yeah, right now there's a loose organization, but it's not fleshed out at all. Like it's Hera's doing her thing. She knows there's something cooking, but she doesn't know precisely what that is.
Man, that's so cool. Yeah,
you just got to have faith. I think she literally says, like, you have to have faith in what we're doing. You know, like
it is sick to actually finally get Fulcrum, I guess. Yeah, the namesake here. That is cool. I don't know, not really much to keep track of with Fulcrum. I guess we just know who it is. You know, it's not like a surprise anymore.
Well aware at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, but I didn't think about like Bail being the one to be like, hey, Ahsoka, you need to like, or Bail knows it is Ahsoka, or he at this point.
I'm fairly certain. Well, if I recall correctly from Tales of the Jedi, they show Ahsoka attend the funeral of Padme Amidala, and her and Bail have a little meeting where he's like, if you ever want to help, or if you ever need help, reach out. And then after the Inquisitor attack on the little planet she was hiding out on, Bail's the one who gets her away. So I think my understanding is that she kind of becomes Fulcrum after that. Like, and obviously this is a way down the line from the end of Tales of the Jedi. Like, probably every bit of 10 years after that. So like, who knows exactly what the timeline is or how long they've been trying to build this rebellion officially, but it would be my assumption at this point, because this is not confirmed, that the only person who would know who Fulcrum is Bail Organa. That would be my guess. Possibly, like I said, Commander Sato, not sure. And that'll be interesting to kind of see if we get any clarification on that come when those characters are officially more prominent. But
wow,
yeah, no, the intricacies of the rebel politics and stuff are, it's interesting to see them kind of work with it even on a quiet level that isn't expressed yet. But it's fun to dig into, because I really, really love the way that Hera kind of plays it up as, you know, like, she's telling Sabine without telling Sabine, like, we're cooking. Don't worry. Like, stuff is going to get better. Because it was hard to decide between Sabine or Hera for the episode 7, you know, for the favorite character. It obviously had to be one of them. Because I'm a big Hera fan, I ultimately landed on her. But there's a lot to like from both of them. You know, I appreciate Sabine's whole sentiment, and we kind of see her show her age a little bit. You know, she carries herself like an adult and like a grown-up, but it's kind of cool to see her have this impetuousness, understandably, you know, like, but it kind of reminded me of something in Game of Thrones whenever Sansa says something to Jon about how, you know, Joffrey used to say stuff like that, and Jon's like, do you think I'm Joffrey?
Yeah, like,
you know, like, and it's kind of this, like, it feels like essentially the same thing. Like, Hera, it would not have surprised me if Hera was like, do you really think I'm the Empire? You know, like, is that something, you know, but I appreciate the more motherly touch she has with that moment, you know, versus the brotherly touch Jon has with Sansa, kind of being like, I understand and I'm sorry, but this is the way things need to be, you know, not really trying to kind of guilt her or anything. Yeah. And I think that's we get a really, really good mother-daughter episode in that one, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I gave Sabine the character for actually standing up and being like, hey, like, this is what I had problems with. I'm not just gonna let it slide because I love you or because I like you. Like, I'm gonna bring it up, and then her, like, at the end kind of being like, no, I'm telling you now. You know what? I'm not even asking anymore. Like, I'm telling you, this is how it is. Like, this is who I am. And I was just, it was definitely a Hera and Sabine episode. I gave Hera the performance, Vanessa Marshall there. But Sabine,
I did too. She is so good. Like, after, I mean, the beginning sequence, whenever she's like, you know, there's not a rebel, there's not a Imperial that could escape me or whatever the hell. Like, no Imperial's gonna outfly me. And then the way she's like, it's in the Phantom and stuff. Are you ready for that, Ezra?
Yeah.
Come on, check it out.
Sure?
Like,
you want to try? You think you're ready,
it.
dog? And he's like,
I love it.
oh, okay, Hera.
Not ready.
I get
not
it.
ready.
I get it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. And then when they get back on the ship, her and Kanan have that conversation where she's like, well, that didn't go to plan. And he's like, oh, yeah, let me hear about how it's my fault. Like, I know somehow it's my fault.
Yeah. Okay.
I love it.
I think this is the innuendo that I was trying to think of. Kanan's trying to get the ship to work, and he's like, or trying to get the ship to start up. It's not starting up. And Hera comes in and reroutes the power to the hole or whatever. She reroutes the power to the hole and it zaps a thing off of the windshield. And Kanan goes, I didn't know the ghost could do that. And Hera goes, there's a lot about my ship you don't know. Or like, there's a lot about my ship that you don't know what it can do. Or I don't like.
Right. Well, I think the innuendo, I think, comes even before that, when Kanan can't find the button. Kanan can't find the switch.
Good. Oh, that's so good. Yes, he's like, I can't get it to work.
It's not working. I don't know what's going on.
Tried everything.
And then she's like, all right, let me show you how fucking easy this is.
Yep.
Okay. So no, I'm with you though.
Good.
Like there is something there though. Like and they have a lot of that. Like I said, the whole like, oh, let me hear about how it's my fault. And it's real playful and flirty, but it is very mom and dad. Like that is like it's somehow she's always gonna find a way to blame me. Like I feel like every child alive has heard their dad say something along those lines. And it's so funny to see it in this context, man. I really, really love them. And, her being like, that's right, dear, or whatever, just kind of like that whole thing. They've just got such a vibe, and I fucking love them. But
can't wait till we get the I don't know how many moments there are, but moments where the other crew are like, ew, you guys are not allowed to like each other. I feel like that happens. I feel like that does come up.
It does, but, at some point. But there's a lot of good moments in these episodes, man. Like in the sixth one, I really enjoy the scene where Leonis and Dev, if you will, run the con on Callus. That's my favorite episode. That's my favorite part of that episode. Whenever he, he's like, I got pod racer parts. First off, Leonis, get your money up, son. There's no way you thought that was going to be a good idea. Why would he need pod racer parts? And that's obviously Callus's first question. He's like, now, Cadet, please tell me why on any planet would I need pod racer parts here? He's like, I don't know, sir. It's just what it says. Like, that could have been the end of it. That was not a great distraction. Sorry to say, Leonis. He could have been like, dude, get the fuck out of my office. Boop. But
that
luckily we know Callus is like actually a little more considerate than he lets on, like him being like, buddy, no. And then him kind of like the slow turn around into snapping his head around. Like I love that whole thing.
And also Ezra using the Force and Leonis just being like, what the fuck is going on back there? He's like, how the fuck are you doing that? And does it come back? Does he ask him later on? Like, does he just say, like, I've been training as a Jedi? Is that who he says? Like, that I've been
That's who he says it to, but he says it before he does that. He's like, how are you gonna do anything from up there? He's like, I've been training to become a Jedi. And then they cut straight to that part of the episode. So like
so it's him
but
fully believing or like being like, oh shit, this dude's actually telling the truth here. He's like, what the fuck? Yeah, this is some magic shit. But I don't know, I love the classic tension building there. He just gets it right at the last second. You think Callus is going to turn around and it is still there, but then the door's already shut and it's like there.
I love it.
Perfect last second.
I also love the box. There's obviously like this is technology that I think carries over from Clone Wars, because I think they have like the bounty hunter pit that they kind of do this in. Do you remember that episode of Clone Wars? Like, I think it's a very similar thing, if not the exact same thing.
To get like the ultimate bounty, they wanted like whoever the best one is.
is going to like try to kidnap Chancellor Palpatine, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, isn't that like
Cad
the goal?
Bane is there?
Yeah,
like, they're
Cad
like
Bane,
big hitters.
like everybody.
There.
Yeah, like
they brought everyone in.
I think it's a similar technology, if not the exact same, because I think there's more like fire and blades in the box as it was in the Clone
the adult
Wars
version. The rated R version of the box. But I wonder.
O'Hara was about to show Kanan the rated R version of the box. If you know what I'm saying. Sorry,
we haven't gotten to that innuendo yet, but maybe one episode. But I wonder if this not the main goal of this. Like, it's obviously they're just training cadets to get them into the Empire and serve your emperor, whatever. But they do kind of have this like mark down that he's a little bit better than good, like that. Mark that down, and then the Inquisitors brought in, kind of immediately, and it maybe is just like this is their way of finding Force sensitives, just like the
partially for sure. And I think that there's a really funny bit. I can't remember the stand-up comedian off the top of my head what his name is, but he does a bit about how cops can't be too smart, because if cops are too smart, they won't do what cops are supposed to do. And I think that's kind of the point of them training stormtroopers. Like, they obviously go like Ezra and Dev Morgan and Jai Kell. Jai Kell's not Force sensitive, like he's just a little better than everybody. And that's one of those things where like you can't be too good in the Empire or they won't trust you. Like you have to be average. You have to be average for them to be like you're good enough. Like you can't if you're too good, you won't listen to them.
Dang.
And I think that's an interesting idea that like, and obviously Jai Kell got a little help from Ezra along the way, but he was still doing very, very good on his own. And
it's
like,
I guess I thought it was more of like, oh, let the Inquisitor know we got some special kids here, but no, it is probably as well just like they're not going to follow our orders. They're like we need the gun, we need the body. That's it.
Right.
No brain, just do what we tell you to do. And yeah, I guess,
and that's what results in stormtroopers being pieces of shit at their job. You know what I'm saying? Like shoot first, ask questions later sort of mentality. But yeah, no, I thought that was a funny detail, and we'll see plenty of I love the face models they use for the Imperials. I don't know if this is the exact same character as we'll see in other places, or if they just use the same fucking face model, because they actually do expressly use the same face model for a lot of Imperials, like to kind of insinuate that they're all personality. They don't have a personality. They are the Empire. There is nothing more to them. They're just this. But I feel like this guy was in the first couple episodes, like on Lothal or something, or maybe I'm mistaken. But it's funny to see.
But does he have do you know? Would you remember?
They don't.
His
None
name?
of them have names.
They don't.
Yeah,
like
that's
this,
the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like they maybe they get referred to as something, but I feel like they all have designations and they respect the designations, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, this guy's like the really sharp features, the really sharp pointy chin and nose and stuff. Like it's I appreciate the way they design Imperials and Rebels, because it feels more akin to like Clone Wars animation style when they get to the Imperials versus like the Imperial facial features than it does the Rebels. And I think that's interesting because it's often more sharp, which I don't know if that's purposeful, or if that's just a consequence of trying to make their features a little sharper. I'm trying to see. Okay. Commander Oresco and Taskmaster Grint.
Taskmaster Grint. Okay.
I'm pretty sure they were in the first episode of on Lothal. They're like the guys who are bullying the street vendor.
Really?
I think.
Oh, that would make sense. And they're just buying the supplies to go take to
wherever
they are.
To the academy.
Yeah,
it's the same guys. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't tripping. They're kind of our faceless, not faceless, but there are Imperials for Lothal. They kind of preside over the planet. But yeah, no. So we see plenty of them. I can't remember. If they're in the show for that long, I'm sure we see them die or something. But
Book of Rebellion. Oh, his wiki page is pretty long.
Yeah, probably in plenty stuff if he's a Lothal
Clear and
Imperial,
Final death. Shortly after Grand Moff Tarkin arrives on Lothal.
Okay.
So I guess whenever he does.
Oh, I think they get killed by the Grand Inquisitor, for like failing in their mission.
Yep. Tarkin ordered the Inquisitor to behead the 2 Imperial officers with one swift stroke of his lightsaber.
Yep.
So
okay, so we'll get to that eventually. These guys go bye-bye at the hands of the guy they're reporting to in this episode, which is funny.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I don't know. There's a lot of details, but it could be like this season. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like it could be by the
soon.
end of the season, if not next at the beginning of next. But yeah, it's I appreciate the recurring faces. They don't just it's not just some new Imperial. It's like, no, this guy presides over Lothal, and that's his thing. Because they easily could get away with that. I don't pay attention to who these fucking guys are.
That's true. Yeah,
but even they have a little bit of a story over the course of these episodes, and I think that's cool. But yeah, no, I've always had a soft spot for the Out of the Shadows episode, though, because like I've said, I'm a big fan of Hera, and I've always this little platform with the night creatures that can't go out in daylight and stuff. Like that's fun shit. And the Rhydonium is such a cool little substance in Star Wars that explodes in like the rainbow, beautiful light. Like the episode where Pedro Pascal shows his face in The Mandalorian, The Believer, I think it's called, where Bill Burr just kills the guy and they escape. That's what they use to blow up the base. He shoots the Rhydonium canister and it
okay.
Yeah, so it's a nice little connection there.
Good old
Rhydonium's cool.
Okay.
It's a good old friend, it's good to have friends.
Sabine,
I like their little their rapport.
My
it's so cute. It's so cute.
Let me introduce you to my oldest friend, my oldest explosive, jolly good. Yeah, she loves her weapons. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Sabine is.
And Hera being like, it's good to have friends. Like that's fun. Like that's so funny, man. I love their rapport, and I love whenever they are going toe to toe. Like it's cool. Like whenever they're taking on the critters, I can't remember what they're called, but whenever they need to get on the Ghost or on the Phantom on top of it. A cool little detail that I'd never considered is that Hera pushes Sabine up. Even though Sabine is the more athletic of the two and can probably get up there easier, it's still like the mother protecting the daughter first. I think that's a cool, like, go ahead, get up. Like I always love that. And obviously Hera's very capable. She's obviously going to jump up right after. But like, I appreciate that detail that her priority is protecting Sabine versus herself.
Yeah.
And right before they do that, there's the shot of them classic back-to-back posted up with their guns. That's my shot of the episode. I fucking love it. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I had for episode 6, there was a shot where Zeb and Sabine were finally coming in to save him, and Zeb saves him or shoots some guys first or something, and then Sabine kind of like does this superhero jump from the background and like takes somebody out, and then Ezra kind of like looks at her like, holy fuck, you're Sabine Wren, and but that was my shot for that episode.
I feel like we also put the crush to bed. I feel like in these episodes, whenever he's like, thanks for saving me, she's like, don't read into it.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, he's
dang
it.
No.
And maybe we don't officially put it to bed or anything, but like it's funny to see it kind of bleed through still. I always just kind of ignore those parts, but him being like, and thanks for saving me, by the way,
it's just who Ezra
that whole
is.
thing.
He's just he can't help it. He can't help but let the Riz go whenever he needs to.
Ezra Rizzer.
Yeah. Ezra Brizzer. Yeah, or the Riz. Yeah, I like that. That's perfect. That's should be one of his aliases in the future. Maybe we could. It's still possible, but I loved while Hera and Sabine were out of the ship, and it's just like the bachelor pad kind of back in the ship with all the dudes.
Yeah,
like
the music is blaring, and
it's like it kind of like they're like, finally, like we can just be Dude, I don't know. It's like,
out.
this is like they're just kind of broing out. They're doing whatever, but then also like they're supposed to be checking on the ship and doing the diagnostic test, and you know when Hera, hey, have you guys done that diagnostic by the way? Like, you know, he's like, have you checked the result?
He's like, of course I did.
Like,
Yeah.
Did you check the result? And like, no.
Oh fuck. So there might be a problem with the fuel line, and they're like, yeah, no shit, we've got a fucking problem. Come and get us, you know.
First, they have to tell Kanan, so they're like, we have to tell Dad. So like, fuck,
Dude.
how are we gonna do this? We have to tell him it makes sense, whatever. And
sense it?
Yeah. Like, oh my god, how'd you know that? No, you're fucking yelling outside the door. What do you mean? And then we got to tell we got to tell Mom now. It was
I love, and then Kanan being like, "We'll be there in a few minutes." You know, like I love the whole thing, man. And I love, obviously, we get a lot more of that. You know, Ezra and Zeb having their bro beef where they're just so brotherly. It's hilarious to watch, with Chopper being like the littlest brother who causes the most chaos. I think is hilarious. Kind of sabotaging them at every turn. Ezra coming into the room while Zeb's like, he's about to grub out, you know, he's ready. He's like, this is going to be good. And Ezra's like, ha, Mom can't protect you now, little shit. You know, like, gets flung onto his food and it all hell breaks loose again. I love it, man.
Oh, man.
It's so good. It's so good.
At least, Ezra and Zeb can get along with hating Chopper because, like, they have like. There's one line where Zeb is like, "I'm gonna dismantle you bolt by bolt," and then like Ezra's like, "Save a few for me," or something. Like, what is
dismantlate?
Dismantlate?
Yeah.
Wow, is that a real word?
It pops up in quotations. He's I'm gonna dismantlate that little bucket of bolts, and
that's just perfect.
It's good.
They all hate each other so much that it's all love. You know, it's all love.
Well, and that's what makes Chopper the little brother. You know, like they're close. They butt heads, but then when the little brother comes and fucks with them, they're like, hold on a second, let's get this little fucker.
Beat his ass. No, we're beating Chopper's ass. Yeah, at least we can agree on one thing, man.
Right. No, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I guess my line for the episode, it's one I brought up, but I didn't say the exact verbiage. But it was from Sabine when she said, "At the Imperial Academy, they didn't ask me, or they didn't want me to ask questions either. That didn't work for me. That's why I ended up here." And the part I forgot about bringing up that scene is like Hera was then like, "Yeah, we are glad that you are here." You know, it's like she was clearly like being like, it's obvious that we don't want you to leave. We're keeping you in here, you know, like we're not trying to sabotage you or any of this. And I guess I didn't really think about how new Fulcrum was for Hera. Like it's not like a long-standing relationship she did have that now Sabine just found out about, and it's not like the past. It's not like Sabine feels lied to for so long. It's just that immediately, like, you didn't tell, like, I need to know more information. Like, it's just kind of an immediate stand on business for Sabine, and then Hera just like strategically, it obviously makes sense. Like, her in the know, you can't let that information out and everything. And it is cool to actually go through all these semantics of like Spectre 1 and 2 and know all these strategic rebellion things like now that I've just never thought. Like, even when I watched it the first time, I'm watching it to
I mean, like, I just rewatched this show very recently. I didn't really pick up on those intricacies or anything. It's again, like, similar to what we did with Game of Thrones on Penny Bloom Pod. It's just, you gain a lot more from breaking it down episode by episode and watching it all the way through and knowing you're going to talk about all these things in detail. Like, it's nice to see these sorts of things come to, like, stand out to me. The show is, I already loved the show. I already thought it was good, but it's even better than I thought it was. Even in these, what most people consider nothing episodes, like season 1 doesn't really quote unquote matter. Like, it absolutely matters. It rocks, man. So I've had a great time, man.
Maybe that's just a testament to how good the writing is for the show. Like, it's things that we didn't pick up on before, but now that we see them, it's like, oh, clearly, like, this is what it'll lead to eventually. Or like, I can't believe I didn't pick up on this before. And it's just them in the writing room. This is what they're thinking about, I guess. You know, like, this is the conversations they'd be having of, why are we doing this current? You know, there has to be a purpose behind it. And I never think of the other side the show's already made and I'm watching it. I never think of it being made and everything until I break it down. But yeah.
Well, no, and that's always fun to think about, especially when it comes to like voice acting. Like thinking about voice actors doing their job is different than thinking about actors on set with a camera on them doing their job.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever it really stood out to me because I was at work and I was watching these on my phone. That was how I did it today. And I was walking away to go grab something, and the part where Ezra goes, not ready, not ready, you know, like whenever Hera's like, oh, so you think you can do this?
Mm-hmm.
It made me think about Taylor Gray in a recording booth, knowing the situation and go like having to yell that, like, not ready, not ready. Like it's really fascinating to think like, wow, that's just a guy sitting in front of a microphone and saying things, you know, like he's not actually on a ship. He's not actually about to die. He's not actually on set. You know, like it's a really interesting idea what voice actors do, and I think it's very, very underrated in terms of its difficulty. Like it's
because on the surface it seems simpler. It's like you're only using your voice, but
you are only using your voice. You know, like
and like you see voice actors like. I'm thinking of Mark Hamill as Joker. He gets all twisted.
Yeah, they get into it.
Yeah, so you have to do something. You know, like you can't just.
Yeah, you're not going straight face going,
oh my God. Yeah,
yeah, you know, like you do have to get into it.
If you see that in the recording booth, I think you're like, I think we're done here. I think
you don't get the role. Go.
Might need therapy, actually. I don't know. That feels kind of psychopathic if you can just do that. But yeah, I wonder.
Well, and who knows too, like the longer you are playing a role, you know, like maybe come season 4, there is less getting into it, and maybe there is. It's just like I know what this character is. I know how he feels. I know what to channel. Like that's interesting to think about too. You know, because Taylor Gray is pretty underrated in his performance of Ezra because it's a grown ass man, and he also ages Ezra's voice up as the show goes. You know,
wow.
like it's you know, like it's a difficult fucking job. And Vanessa Marshall eventually she goes home to Hera goes home to where are the Twi'leks from? Ryloth. And she's interacting with her dad, and her dad's getting her riled up, and the natural accent of those on Ryloth is French. And she's yelling, and then she starts to go into, you know, she starts fading into a French accent, you know, and it's like, and it's really, really cool to like go, God damn, like y'all are fucking good at what you do, you know? And one of the things that always sticks out to me too is when you can like clock that it's the same voice actor, but they're obviously doing a different voice for something different. They're in one of these episodes we watched today, within the last couple weeks, there was an Imperial broadcast, and the voice on the Imperial broadcast I know for a fact is Steve Bloom. It's Zeb.
Okay.
And he's like I can tell it is Zeb, but it's not Zeb, you know, like he's got the same sort of deep voice, and he's doing that, but like it's not Zeb. And I appreciate that, like I can tell it's Steve Bloom, but it's obviously not the same character. And that's to even be able to do something like that takes a lot of talent, you know, like I can still tell it's your voice, but you're obviously not the same character, but it's still your voice somehow. And I don't know how I can pinpoint that. I don't know how like that takes a lot of talent. So yeah, when it comes to voice actors, you will never hear me dismiss them as less than or anything, because what they are capable of, it blows my mind. They are so good at what they do.
Because how often are they actually together, like bouncing these off of each other?
There's no talent. Like there's no talent.
Is it majority of the time that they are alone, or is it maybe
I couldn't tell you specifically. It depends on it depends on the production. You know, like sometimes it is like we were all in the same room. Like I remember that was a story with like TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Like the kids who voiced the turtles, they had them all in the same recording booth so that they could feed off each other's energy and kind of riff and go with it.
Felt like that was non-normal because it like them bringing that up. It felt like that's.
Yeah, I don't think it is the norm. I think you record your lines for the most part, and, you know, if there are intense scenes, maybe there are certain ones where you do need a partner, you do need to bounce off each other. But, you know, typically it's probably just like somebody reciting the responding terms to you. maybe not the actor who's like acting back at you, but being like, okay, and then they'll say this. Now, now go. You know,
Wow. Yeah,
it's impressive, man. It's impressive work. So, I'll never dismiss voice actors as being less than any other actor, because what they do,
and
man,
the sheer amount of characters that they do usually as well. Like, I mean, this it's like this is one tiny fraction of like what they do. Like, just looking at the voice actor for Zuko, Dante Bosco, I had to scroll so far to get to Airbender to like confirm that it was him, and I was like, oh my god, the amount of work that this guy is doing is crazy, because it's TV shows, video games, like, I mean, usually like they're kind of all around mediums, which is really cool. Would be a fun job. It'd be not like a COVID. I feel like didn't really halt their job too much. They're like, oh
no,
if I'm at home, I got a good microphone, I can still do my, that's all I need.
Yeah, they can still do that shit.
But yeah, I'm getting,
like, if I remember correctly, there's behind the scenes footage of like the Bad Batch, where like Ming-Na Wen, when she voiced Fennec Shand, was like in her closet with with soundproofing on and just speaking into a microphone. Like, it's, and that's what's really cool, like, and I love Star Wars, and I love how much passion you can always feel goes into these things. And I love Rebels. It reminds me more than anything else of how much passion goes into Star Wars. So, another good couple episodes. I really, really enjoyed them. But do we want to go ahead and get into trivia now?
This one's the more difficult question, that's for sure. This one
All
is
right.
much more intriguing.
Hit me with it.
Okay,
I'm ready.
I feel like I should maybe give you a baseline first, because just asking this question, there's no way you're going to get it. It's a number that I'm looking for, a cost, a price of something.
Okay.
And specifically, I wanted to kind of get a baseline of just what things cost in the Star Wars universe, credits, credits wise. And what I want to know is the cost of an Imperial 1 class Star Destroyer. The regular Star Destroyer, how
much it costs to build it, or how much it would cost, like, how much it would cost to construct one of these things.
I guess that's an interesting question. It just has a cost. Everything has a cost on the wiki. Like, most ships, they have like just on the wiki.
Okay.
It's kind of like a specification.
The amount of credits that a Star Destroyer is.
And I kind of wanted to give you a baseline by like giving you maybe how many credits a bounty was awarded for some, like a small term to give you a baseline.
Can you give me that?
I wonder because Grogu's bounty was like in Beskar, but did they ever say that there was
Pretty sure it was like 50,000. Like, it was 50,000 credits, maybe, or something like that.
The hunt for Grogu. Yeah, that's credit. Dang, yeah, I don't see a number for him, because that would be like the biggest bounty, I would think. Maybe
I
I'll give
can't
you
recall
like
off the top of my head. Maybe a smaller ship.
Yeah, like what?
Can you give me a smaller ship? Like maybe a TIE fighter. Like, how much does it cost to make a TIE fighter? Like, I can go off that.
That's probably fair. Okay, let's see. TIE fighter. I'll pull it up on the wiki, so we're going off all the same
the
credits.
wiki number.
Okay. A TIE fighter is, this one's interesting. It has two different numbers. 60,000 credits, but then in parentheses, 25,000 credits used. Oh, to buy it used on the market.
Oh,
wow.
That's funny.
That's incredible. 60,000 brand new, though, for a TIE fighter.
That does give me a good baseline. Okay, so Star Destroyers are millions.
I feel like if you are in the kind of
a range, okay.
I'll give you you don't have to get the number spot on, but
right. Okay, I'm gonna go. That's hard, because like,
think of how many
millions.
TIE fighters are in a Star Destroyer.
I'm like, it's a lot. So I don't know. My question is between 8 or 9 figures. I don't know if I want to go tens of millions or hundreds of millions, and that's because when we get there, it's like it's all a giant fucking number, So I think I'm going to go. I'm going to go right on the crest of it, and I'm going to go 99 million credits.
Okay. I feel like if you would have just gone a little bit above, I would have given it to you because it's 150 million credits for one Star Destroyer. So
all right.
I would like.
No, I mean like
but very close.
I considered
That's
it.
Pretty close.
You know, I wasn't going to go north of 200 million. I was like,
Honestly,
that just seems like it'd be absurd.
I probably would have said like billion. If I like no.
Well, that's where my gut took me, and then you gave me because like before you said TIE Fighter, I thought a TIE Fighter would be $1 million.
Oh wow!
And then you said 60,000, and I was like, well, that drastically decreases my guess.
I guess credits are like. The credit to dollar, you know, the credits are.
I'd
fucking,
be interested. Yeah,
boom.
It's probably pretty 1-to-1.
You think?
60K,
yeah, you know,
for
like a TIE Fighter.
I mean, think of 60K for a car is pretty fucking nice, and it's no different in the Star Wars universe.
It's kind of their
you
car.
Know, like,
you're right. They whip those things out like they're nothing.
Yeah,
okay, fair
exactly.
enough.
You know,
okay.
I'd imagine it's pretty 1-to-1.
100.
There are certain things.
Damn, for 150 mil. To make one, that's damn efficient to get like.
Yeah, it's pretty efficient.
But okay,
they're they are cutting corners at every chance they get, so you know it is what it is. But yeah, no, okay, that's good to know. I'm 150 million credits for a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, good, all right. I didn't know that.
There we go.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to learn. My question for you is worth 2 points, not a half point each. I have 2 answers I'm looking for. If you can get one, you get 1 point. If you can get both, you get 2 points. So the reason I'm asking this is because last week, Daisy Ridley did an interview and photo shoot with Women's Health magazine, and I've been completely incapable of getting the photo shoot out of my head. Rey's parents were killed after they hid her on Jakku with a crow loot shop owner. That's the species, crow loot. For 2 points. Who did her parents leave her with? And who was the assassin that killed them?
Fuck, what's his name? It's the shop runner that gives her food portions, I believe is who she's left with.
40 portions.
Yeah. And I know the actor. I can see his face. His character name is beyond me.
That is what I'm looking for.
Morgue? I feel like it's like a something like that. No, that's not my final answer. I'm kind of working to get there.
Do your thing. Get there.
It feels like a morgue probably would have been my best guess. I feel like I'm on the wrong track.
All right, think about the person who killed them. Then.
Okay,
who's the person that killed them?
Killed their parents is.
Can you visualize them? Can you describe him for me?
Who did kill their parents?
Because it's a part of the Rise of Skywalker. They show that flashback
do.
The dagger getting thrust into them.
And it was it was found on that ship that they went out, and that was in the sink.
Lando and Luke were on the hunt for the yeah.
God, yeah. Who the is it? It's not. Is it someone I know, or is it like this specifically?
It was a Rise of
this?
Skywalker original character. The character doesn't exist prior to it in anything else. Since then, he hasn't shown up on screen, but he's been in books and comics and stuff. So that's why this is difficult.
Oh shit.
That's why I made it worth 2 points, not a half point each.
I feel like
these are both pretty decently hard questions.
I don't think it was any of the Knights of Ren related. I feel like I don't know why that's like it, but that feels wrong. That's later.
They found them. The Knights of Ren were on the same planet where they find the dagger and stuff. You know, like that might be where you're thinking of, but it wasn't. Wasn't the assassination?
Oh yeah, my sequels knowledge is
that's
definitely,
I might get your money up on the sequels over the next
do.
couple weeks.
Yes, I
but
do.
if you are giving up, I can go ahead and give it. So your final answer for the shop owner is Morgue.
I think so.
Do you want to throw out a name for the assassin?
I'd be throwing. I don't even fucking know. I tried. Khan. Something Khan. I don't know
something
why.
Khan.
Genghis Khan was the only name popping in my head. but
that's funny. Okay, so the shop owner that Rey's parents leave her with is Unkar Plutt.
Unkar. Where am I getting Morgue? I don't know where Morg came from. Maybe I just
might have came from Dev Morgan in this episode.
I feel he kind of looks like a morgue. Maybe it's just like he looks like a morgue, a blob, kind of like a
no, I get it. I get it. And the assassin was Ochi of Bastoon.
Ochi of Bastoon. I gotta see what they look like because
Unkar Plut, UNKAR PLUTT.
That I know. Oh fuck, there he is, dude. Yeah, the fucking Rick and Morty ass character. It reminds me of the. I don't know. They're like crickets. Some of them are bounty hunter. I don't know. One of them's a bounty hunter that. Is
right. Yeah.
I don't know.
I know
wow, it is a bounty hunter. That's weird. But man, yeah, what a creep.
Is that Ochi of Bastoon that you're thinking of there?
Yeah,
that you're looking at?
Eyes are fucking.
Yeah, the fucked up eyes and the weird head piece he's got going. Yeah, Ochi of Bastoon. He rolled with Darth Vader for a while in the Vader comics. The book Shadows of the Sith ought to be one of your first stops when you get to Star Wars books. That thing is a fucking beaut. Dives into Rey's parents a little more expansively. Dives into Luke and Lando's search for Ochi of Bastoon.
Yes, I don't know. I believe, have a lot of reading time, and yeah, that's fine. Our library has a lot of Star Wars books. I walked in there, so yeah, yes. I guess I should have taken a picture. And I didn't think about that until
next
now,
time.
I know where they are.
But
yeah,
all right,
okay,
kick ass. Then with that, we will conclude this episode of Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast, and we will be back next week with episodes 8 and 9 of season 1. Very, very excited for that. Be sure to come on back, and we'll be here for you. You can follow on Twitter at the Fulcrum Pod. You can ask us listener questions. We would love to hear from you. We would love to respond. That is where we get them. We haven't had one in a few weeks. We are recording in advance relatively, so it is hard to give you the exact timeline when we would answer those questions, but I know that we can, and we will eventually if you ask them on Twitter at the Fulcrum Pod. We are an offshoot of the Penny Bloom podcast. And this week on the Penny Bloom podcast, this Friday, brings us the penultimate episode of Cinema Surprise, if I'm not mistaken. It will be The Banshees of Inisherin this Friday on Penny Bloom Pod for Cinema Surprise. And we will be concluding Cinema Surprise Season 1 next Friday. So go ahead and be there. But yeah, like I said, we'll be back next week, episodes 8 and 9 of Season 1. We can't wait to have you. And yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure to have you. Leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening. And remember, for light and life.